Hey, friends and family. Well, I guess I'm gonna focus on what happened last night at work and to try and keep it short and sweet. Um, things are expensive and they ain't getting any cheaper. We are all being price gouged left and right on everything. Okay? I'm not doing so hot. We are struggling in every way, shape, and form here, to get by. Um, but I still haven't resorted to stealing to support myself or my daughter or to make ends meet. And I get it. I can really empathize with somebody who is stealing groceries. Okay, and I would say, instead of putting them in jail, let's take a look at what we can do to help them, because putting them in jail for circumstances that are most likely beyond their control, they're trying to maybe make sure their kids eat, they just didn't have the money but they had to have some milk. You don't know what's happening. Um, and and I would say most of that could be cured with more generosity when it comes to food stamps. Um, they are stingy with food stamps. I mean, period. Um, Even if you got children, they're stingy with them. Um, so, and maybe everybody, just like we should all have a guaranteed, what do they call that now? A monthly um a monthly government check. They were saying 2,000 a month from the government. Um, I'm sorry, my brain was blanking out on what they would call that. It's not because it's not. It would be a stimulus. It would be um, basic income, a basic income check that everybody gets to help them every month. And some people were saying that should be like $2,000. Actually, that sounds pretty reasonable to me. And then there's places where that it was a basic income, still isn't going to be squat. Um, but I think that would be a good start. But on top of a basic income, maybe also a basic amount of food stamps that everybody gets without question. Because they definitely, especially with things that are going on. But yeah, we don't sell food where I work. Well, we sell snacks. There's some snacks by the cash registers, candy and soda. But we're not a grocery store. We don't take EBT, because we're not a grocery store. We're we're a retail warehouse. So we have a lot of pros who are in on the regular basis to get the supplies that they need to do the construction work that they're doing, handyman stuff, that type of thing, do-it-yourself projects. But yeah, we usually the thing we have the most problem with when it comes to theft is people trying to steal the power tools, because they can get a decent amount of money for those at a like a pawn shop, or so that type of thing, or because if you try to come in, or what I saw somebody doing at my previous location in Vegas was they would, because we won't give you cash if you don't have a receipt for it. And there are people who comb the parking lots for receipts, in order to take the receipt in, find the items that match it, and go to the service desk to get those items. And the only receipts that will work on so that they can get cash are people who have paid with cash. So if you're not careful with your receipt and you've lost it, there's a possibility that somebody picked it up outside in the parking lot, went back in the store, and got your cash for your item. So, and I'm not really somebody who uses cash. I feel like my debit card is my cash. I got the money in there. It's like having cash in your pocket. That's my direct access to my cash. And if I have the money to buy it, good. If we don't have the money to buy it, which is normal, then we don't usually get it, which means that we don't have a lot of stuff that we could really use. I mean, and the house is starting to need some updating and some repairs. The car needs replaced. And but yeah, this was, and we worked together to try and curb shoplifting as much as we can. Mostly we just customer service people to death. Management and a couple of other big guys in the store will follow you around until you are so uncomfortable you leave, and most likely leave without what you were trying to walk out with. But sometimes they get more creative. Last night a gentleman went down to the service desk. He said he needed a quote for some items that he needed to purchase for a project for somebody he was working for, something like that. And he had her make up the quote. And then he said, all right. And he grabbed the items and started heading towards my way. And my way, is where the pros load and all of that. It's my dollar tea. Thank goodness that's still $1, or else when that stops, I'll never be stopping at McDonald's again. We had to go out and about because I had to have some blood work done today. So, but yeah, so you're just doing a quote. You haven't purchased the stuff. There's no need for you to take the stuff with you. Leave it at the service desk, and they can send it to be put away. But he's coming towards my exit where I'm working with the stuff. He initially stops and leaves it at the end of an aisle, and says he needs to check to see if his ride is there. He goes out. He comes back in and he grabs it, and I know I've been called before he got all the way down there by the customer service lady to tell me he's coming your way. Yes, I've created a quote for him, but none of what he has been paid for. So I already know that everything he's got on that cart, he hasn't paid a dime for it. We're working together here. So he comes down. He says he needs to check on the ride. Is it there? He comes back in. He grabs it and he goes to leave with it. And I had to get in front of this dude and say, "Sir, I'm sorry, but you haven't paid for that yet. I can't. So you can't take it out." And he tries to tell me I paid for it down at the service desk. To which I get to reply, I'm sorry, sir. She only created a quote for you. You did not pay for it. If you pay for it, you can go with it. But and y'all don't even understand how scared I was because I ain't but 5 feet tall. This is a big guy. He's more than a head taller than I am and built like a battleship. Oh my Lanta. And I was the one who got the call to intercept him as best I could so that he didn't leave with over $600 worth of stuff he didn't pay for. um, I mean, he could a lot of that could have gone wrong in so many ways because he could have shoved me down. He could have tried to run me over with the cart. I mean, luckily he didn't do any of that because when I informed him, I knew it wasn't paid for. That he only had gotten a quote and that he didn't pay a dime. He just kind of looked up the ceiling like, "Damn, she got me." And left without any trouble. Of course, left the stuff, without making a scene, because for a second he looked like he wanted to try to argue with me about it, but he didn't, and I was grateful, because I'm not loss prevention, and I don't know why we don't have a loss prevention person. But we don't. And this was obvious, like not like articulate. This was stuff. This was obviously project. There was a project that needed this stuff. There's no other reason for this stuff that was on this card. It was for a project. It's obvious. There's something that he needed to work on, whether that was for himself or for somebody else. Or I don't know. We speculated that maybe his boss gave him money to buy this stuff, but he wanted to pocket the cash instead of actually buying the stuff. We don't know exactly why. He definitely wasn't homeless. He wasn't one of the tweakers we see pretty regularly who are trying to lift power tools to get cash for drugs. So yeah, I get it, and I know a lot of people think that, and you steal from a big chain store, a big company like that, you're not hurting anybody. They got insurance to cover that. You are hurting somebody. You're hurting me. You're hurting my children. You're hurting the other parents that are working there who are trying to support their families, because the people at the top of the ladder, they've got themselves insulated so well that they don't feel it when something gets stolen from the store. The guy at the top, he don't feel it. It ain't nothing to him. He's not going to suffer for it in any way, shape, or form. But the everyday people working there, our bonuses, our rate of pay, our annual raises, how many hours are available for us to work, are all dependent upon how well the store does. And theft affects that negatively. It is counted against us. Just like if it doesn't sell, it counts against us. If it disappears and we lose, and it's a loss for our store, it walked out the door, it counts against us. And that counts, and it counts against us worse than if it just didn't sell, because if it just didn't sell, then we know, we got to find something else to sell, because that ain't selling. And something that's not selling can be donated, and then they can write that off. But no, and insurance, no, They make that up. They make that theft up by cutting people's hours, cutting the amount of your annual raise, um, cutting what's available in medical, cutting your bonuses. I mean, it has happened that where a store didn't, the bonuses that they were supposed to get didn't happen because they lost that much in theft. And those little bonuses might not mean much to people at the top. They probably can't imagine, if somebody got a $50 or $100 bonus. Well, they think we're all waste. They think if you're poor because you waste your money, or because you're not intelligent. They don't understand that some of us, despite how hard we work, have other things going on, like we're the single parent of a disabled child, and that takes up almost all of our time. So we can't focus all our energy on money, 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 because we're taking care of our child. Um, so I'm gonna stop there with that one because that's getting kind of long. And my other thing, I'll make a video for because that was today in grocery shopping. So, friends, family, love you. Peace in your hearts and in your lives.